I was told you had a movie idea for me. Yes, sir, I do. See, last month my wife and my brother went on vacation together alone. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. No, what? Don't be sorry. They accidentally forgot me at home. Are you sure that's what happened? Well, yeah, of course. Why else would they not bring me on a vacation to Paris? All right, I mean, okay. And so, you know, I got to be home all alone. That's great, buddy. It was great. I ate candy, I watched movies, I went grocery shopping all by myself. Okay, to be honest, I'm not getting what the movie idea is, and I'm getting a little sad. Right, so I was thinking, if I'm having such an amazing time, imagine if this happened to an 8-year-old kid. You want to make a movie where a child's wife cheats on him? What? No, I want a kid to be accidentally left at home while his family goes on vacation. I guess my question is, how would that ever happen? Well, his family leaves on a vacation and they don't realize he's not with them. Yeah, but okay, it just seems like a really improbable thing. Oh yeah, I'm well aware. Okay, so... Well, I was doing some research and there's this thing in storytelling called the suspension of disbelief. What's that? They say that the audience sacrifices realism and logic for the sake of enjoyment. Oh, so the audience will kind of just overlook unrealistic things? Right, so I think if we exploit that to like an extreme level, we're good. Huh. Interesting. So I think I figured out like the perfect storm of unrealistic coincidences to get this premise off the ground. All right, you got me, I'm listening. Okay, so first off, the kid has to be part of a huge family. Like it has to be big enough that you wonder if they've ever heard of birth control. Plus some uncles and cousins can be there too. They also all have to be really mean to the kid so he can wish that they would disappear. Then they also have to accidentally throw his plane ticket in the trash. Then they also have to make him sleep in the attic so they don't see him when they're leaving. There also has to be a huge storm the night before the departure that knocks out the phone line so they can't contact him when they're gone. That storm also has to knock out the power. That way their alarms can shut off in the night and they wake up late for their flight. Also, the kid needs to sleep so heavily that he doesn't hear 15 people running around and yelling. There also has to be a random little kid that shows up at the exact moment they're doing a head count so they can get it wrong. Then we have to have nobody think of him even a little bit until they're mid-flight. So they really have to be like an awful family. They have to be the worst family. Oh yeah, also then the kid has to wake up and think he's magic because he wished that they disappeared and they did. Wouldn't he just make the connection that they were supposed to leave on a trip that morning? You'd think so, but if we have him not understand what an airport shuttle is, he can look at their cars and be like, there's no way they could have gotten to the airport without those. So he thinks he magically erased his family from existence? Right. So just to be clear, we need to have all those extremely unlikely scenarios play out one after the other just to get this kid alone at home by himself? That's right. And this suspension of disbelief. Right, with that, people will just be okay with all of that. Apparently, yeah. All of that. All of that. Yeah, pretty cool, right? Well, then awesome. So tell me more about this kid, Kevin McAllister. Well, you know how his family is the worst? Yeah, I imagine he's like the only nice one in the family. Oh no, he's also the worst. Oh, he is? Yeah, he calls his mom a dummy and he's really snarky with everyone. He's also unable to pack a suitcase, like it's the end of the world for him to do that. And how does he get over the trauma of the situation? The trauma? Well, I mean, in Kevin's mind, he's essentially just killed his family with a wish. I imagine that's gonna be hard for him to come to terms with. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Really? Well, I probably should have mentioned before that Kevin is a psychopath. Oh yeah. We're talking complete disregard for the physical and emotional well-being of everyone he comes across in his life. And he talks to himself kind of a lot. So he's happy that they're dead. He's thrilled. He has a little eyebrow celebration thing and then he does all the exact same stuff I did when I was home alone, except I didn't shave. Does anything else happen, or do we just watch a kid go crazy at home by himself? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that's where things get really interesting. How's that? Well, it turns out that 2 burglars have their hearts set on breaking into the McAllister house. So why this house in particular? One of them mentioned something about it probably having some VCRs. VCRs are great, and they always will be. So these guys think that the house is empty because they've been casing the joint. Oh no. But Kevin finds out that they want to break in. So he calls the cops? No. Well, eventually. Eventually, why not right away? Because of the psychopath thing. Oh. I don't get it. Well, the bandits break in, but Kevin is like some kind of genius. Like he set up a bunch of intricate death traps that they walk into one by one. But you said the kid was freaked out about packing a suitcase, like that was too much. Oh, right. And now he's like a death trap engineer? Yeah, no, that's a mistake. I'll change the suitcase thing. That doesn't make any sense. Meh, it's probably fine. You sure? It's no problem. I could change it to something that makes the whole death trap engineer make sense. Nah, keep the suitcase thing. It's all good. Okay, so he's too stupid to pack a suitcase, but He's great at traps. So what happens with the robbers? Well, they somehow survive a bunch of very, very fatal injuries. Wow. Yeah, and in the middle of the robbery, it seems like they forget that they wanted to rob the house, and now they just want to murder this child. It becomes about murder. It seems that way. Because at a certain point, Kevin just leaves them alone in the house, and they don't take anything. Just focused on the kid, no more VCRs. Yep, so at the end, they get arrested because they tried to break in and murder a child. It's very dark. And then overnight, he manages to clean up all the traps, including some stairs covered in tar. And then his family comes back the next day and immediately ignore him again. What do you think? Well, I think it might have some potential, but it's missing something, some kind of big selling point. Do you have anything in mind? Well, we could try the Christmas play. I mean, that rarely works, but what's that? That's when you make a movie take place at Christmas time, even if it has almost nothing to do with Christmas time. So people think, oh, this is a Christmas movie, I have to watch it. Exactly. Would that work if I just add in a couple of random Christmas elements? Well, it's certainly not gonna be a Christmas classic, but it's worth a shot. So, you have a Home Alone sequel script for me? Yes, sir, I do, and it only took me like 20 minutes to put together. How is that possible? Well, I just took every single story beat and plot point from the first movie and made them all a little more intense or elaborate. Oh, that's smart, because people liked the first movie, they gave me money to see it. Right, so I figured they'd pay us a bunch of money to see it again, but different. I love it already, so how are we kicking things up a notch? Well, instead of being alone at home, this time Kevin is gonna be alone in New York City. Oh, New York City is much bigger than a home. I thought so too. So how does Kevin end up alone in NYC? Well, the family's planning on heading down to Florida for Christmas, but the dad accidentally unplugs the alarm clock the night before they leave, so they have to rush to the airport again. They have one alarm clock for a house of 14 people, and they don't double check it before bed. That's what we're going with. Stretching that suspension of disbelief real thin. Yes, sir, I am. Wow. So anyway, everybody's running through the airport, and Kevin tells his dad, hey dad, I need batteries for my Talkboy recorder thing. So the dad's like, I'll give you the batteries on the plane. We're extremely late and this is not a priority at all. No, he hands Kevin a bag that has his wallet and some cash in it. There's no way anyone would actually do that though. I know, but this way Kevin will have some spending money in New York. Okay, so we're taking another little break from logic so that can happen. Oh yeah, we're gonna take a lot of those kinds of breaks. I guess we'll have to. And so Kevin gets separated from his family and follows someone he thinks is his dad onto the wrong plane. Isn't it hard for him to get past airport employees and security? Actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, the airport people just kind of take Kevin's word for it that his dad's on that plane. I didn't realize how laid back airport security was. Yeah, well, it's the early 90s right now, so airport security isn't that much of a concern yet. Fair enough. Vaguely ominous statements about the future are tight. Yeah, I guess that was pretty weird of me. So how does Kevin not realize that he's not on the same plane as his family? Well, his mom said that because it's Christmas time, they couldn't get seats together. They were lucky to even be on the same flight. So how is there an empty seat for him on the New York plane? I don't know. Fair enough. So yeah, then Kevin's gonna get to New York and the fun's gonna begin. Wow, so what does he do? Oh, well, he's gonna go to a fancy hotel and commit a bunch of credit card fraud and identity theft to get a room. Oh my god. But like in a cute way. Okay, good. Yeah, but this one concierge thinks the whole thing is super suspicious. Oh, so he stops Kevin before he goes up to the room? No, later he's gonna sneak into Kevin's room. Oh, he is? Yeah, well, he wants to confirm his suspicions that Kevin is alone in there. So best case scenario in this guy's mind, he's breaking into a child's room and finding that child all alone. Well, it sounds creepy when you say it like that. I think it sounds creepy any way you say it because it's super creepy. Maybe. And what else happens in New York? Oh, well, Kevin's gonna have to deal with some bad guys again. Oh, I guess the city is a perfect place to introduce some wacky new criminals. Well, actually, I was thinking it could be Harry and Marv from the first movie. But weren't they arrested in Chicago? Yeah. So how would that even be possible? Well, they escaped from prison and got onto a fish truck that ended up in New York City on the same day that Kevin McAllister arrived. My disbelief is so suspended right now. Yeah, and they keep crossing paths with Kevin on the street, so eventually Harry's like, hey, that's the kid that sent us to jail. They keep crossing paths with him? Yeah, you know how you always just kind of come across the same people in New York? That almost never happens. There are like 7 million people in New York. Oh, I thought there were like 200. You thought there were 200 people living in New York City? Yeah, now you're telling me 7 million. This whole thing seems pretty far-fetched. Won't this kind of be covered by the whole suspension of disbelief thing? I don't know, I have people running into each other kind of a lot. Oh, you do? Yeah, Kevin keeps running into the same crazy bird lady. Marv gets hit in the face twice by the same lady on separate occasions. How does that happen? Well, later Marv and Harry manage to grab Kevin, right? Okay. And so to escape, Kevin pinches a random lady's butt. And it turns out to be the same exact woman that Marv had sexually harassed earlier that day. Wow, what are the odds of that? Well, I thought they were 1 in 200. Right. Anyway, so Marv and Harry's big plan is to rob this place called Duncan's Toy Store and then fly away to an island. Pretty horrible plan. But then Kevin decides to save Christmas Christmas by stopping them. Okay. And then he lures them to his uncle's house that's undergoing renovations, and he has a bunch of traps set up for them. Oh, some clever traps? Yeah, but also, you know, just throwing bricks at their faces from the roof. Oh my god. Yeah, Marv is gonna take like 5 bricks to the face. That's incredibly intense. It is, and then inside the house, we're gonna have a bunch of super deadly traps that defy physics. But somehow, Marv and Harry just don't die. How do they survive all that stuff? Well, we're gonna have this big reveal where you find out that Harry and Marv are actually immortal. What? Yeah, so we're gonna have this psychopath kid trying to murder these 2 immortal beings, but they're just not dying. I'm not sure I like the reveal of them being immortal beings. So what, you want Kevin to successfully kill them? No, I'd say keep all the deadly traps, just take out the reveal. But there's no way they can survive any of that without being immortal. It's literally the only explanation that makes sense. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of it. Okay. And how does the movie end? Well, Kevin's entire family's gonna fly up to see him. What happened to that whole thing about it being impossible to get plane tickets on Christmas? Well, that line was at the beginning of the movie, so I'm hoping people are gonna forget we said it. Oh, fingers crossed. And then Kevin's dad is gonna see like a $900 hotel bill and lose his mind. Didn't he just fly 14 people across the country twice? Why is he mad about $900? So we can have this fun ending where he yells in the hotel room and Kevin hears him all the way in Central Park. The dad yells in the hotel and Kevin hears him in Central Park? Yeah, he does. No, he doesn't. Yeah, he does. That's not possible. It's a funny ending. Get off my back. But it doesn't make any sense. My back is where you are and I'd love for you to vacate the premises. Okay, well, I'm at least gonna try to get the Plaza Hotel, so at the very least the hotel will be right across from Central Park. Oh, you think you can get the Plaza Hotel? Yeah, apparently if you give the owner a cameo, you can use any of his buildings for your movies. It's like this ego thing that he has. Wait, who owns the Plaza Hotel? So, you have a Christmas movie for me? Yes, sir, I do. It's gonna be about this guy named Scott Calvin who, you know, kills Santa Claus. Oh my god. Yeah, I know, but hear me out. Okay. So Scott and his son Charlie hear somebody stomping around on the roof on Christmas Eve, right? Oh, is it Santa Claus? It is Santa Claus, and he's being real loud. You'd think that people at other houses would have heard him too if he's so loud delivering presents. Yeah, you'd think so, but people at other houses aren't the protagonists of this movie. Right. So Scott runs outside and sees Santa on the rooftop, and he thinks he's being robbed, so he kills him with a gun. Come on, man. No, he doesn't. Yeah, he shoots him dead. We can't have the main character murder Santa Claus in the first act of our movie. You guys have characters get killed in the first act all the time. I mean, why is it okay for Bambi's mom to be killed but not Santa Claus? Because we don't have the protagonist be the killer, like Bambi's not the one that shot his mom. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. So what if Scott just startles Santa and he falls off the roof and dies? Still kinda responsible. Well, Scott kinda has to be responsible because the whole thing is that he's gonna take Santa's place. Is there a way we can lighten it up a little more? Maybe a little hand wave from Santa and he disappears? Okay, yeah, sure. So we'll have Santa's dead arm reanimate for a second and then his corpse will vanish from this realm. This is still super dark. Now, would the hand wave be like a post-mortem spasm or is he really back from the dead? Okay, let's just move on, please. Well, okay then. So what happens next? Do they call an ambulance? Well, no, because the corpse vanished. Right. But we're gonna find out that if Santa Claus dies and you put on his clothes, you become Santa Claus. Wait, that's all it takes? Yeah, pretty crazy, right? People thought that Santa Claus was just a guy, but it turns out it's like a thing that's passed on to new hosts through magic. But what would happen if like a meth head killed Santa and put on his clothes? I guess we'd have to hope that the meth head has a lot of Christmas spirit. I guess so. So then Scott and Charlie are gonna deliver a bunch of presents together and then go to the North Pole. Oh, what happens there? Well, a bunch of elves are there and they're all like, oh, hey, I guess you're the new Santa Claus, what's up? Don't they care that the other Santa Claus just died? Not even a little bit. Oh my god, I didn't know that elves were so heartless. Yeah, it makes you realize that when Scott eventually dies, they're not gonna care either. Nothing matters to them. Jeez, that is dark. Yeah, well, they've been alive for so long that they clearly must not feel any attachment to human life anymore. Why did they even make presents then? I don't know. And what about Mrs. Claus? She must be sad that he's dead, right? Well, we're not gonna mention her, so either she was already dead or the elves tossed her out into the cold when the old Santa died. Oh my lord. Anyway, so then Scott accidentally flirts with an elderly child and falls asleep. What? And then he wakes up at home and kind of brushes the whole thing off as a dream. Okay. But then slowly he starts to physically turn into Santa Claus. What do you mean? Well, like he has to go to this meeting at work in sweatpants because he suddenly gained a bunch of weight. What's the meeting about? It's just this meeting where they're kind of pitching Christmas ads. Oh, pitch meetings are tight. Yeah, and so even though his coworkers order salad, Scott orders a bunch of sweets. So that's part of his Santa transformation, just eating sweet stuff nonstop? Yeah, because that's one of the things that people love about Santa Claus, you know, his crippling sugar addiction. Oh, I didn't know that. So then Scott starts to put on a bunch of weight because of his horrible normal eating habits. So wait, why does Santa have to be a fat guy? Because that's what Santa looks like. Right, but the whole thing is that Santa isn't one guy. It's a job that's passed on from person to person. Right. So what's the purpose of the unhealthy weight gain if it's just a job where somebody has to deliver presents? That's just how Santa's supposed to look. So you're changing some elements of the mythology but keeping others at random? Oh, it's not random. It's so we can make fat jokes. Oh, okay, gotcha. And so Charlie's mom Laura and her boyfriend Neil are on a mission to prove to Charlie that Santa's not real. Pretty mean to destroy a kid's dreams like that. Yeah, and they're gonna make Scott lose visitation rights with his son. Jeez, these people are awful. Yeah. But if Santa does exist, that means that Laura and Neil would suddenly see new presents under the tree every Christmas morning. Yeah, well, that's not enough for them to believe in Santa, apparently. Well, if that's not enough, it's gonna be impossible to convince them. Actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, they stopped believing in Santa when they were young because they didn't get the toys they asked for, so Scott gets them those toys. How come the Santa Claus that was in charge when they were young didn't give them what they wanted? Maybe they had a meth addict Santa back then, I don't know. Fair enough. Anyway, we're also gonna have this elf Bernard that teleports into their home to get Scott and Charlie. Wait, elves can teleport into people's homes? Yeah, pretty cool, right? Then wouldn't it make more sense for them to teleport inside people's homes to deliver presents? Well, that's Santa's job, you silly producer. He flies on the sleigh and goes down the chimneys. But I mean, why would that responsibility land on him if the elves can do it 100 times better? I don't know. Fair enough. And so yeah, eventually Scott fully embraces his new job as Santa, and so does everybody else. Wow. So what do you think? Any thoughts on who should play Scott Calvin? Well, ideally somebody that's kid-friendly, you know, not somebody with a dark past or anything. Oh, I know just the guy. Oh yeah? Yeah, Tim Allen? Oh yeah, he'd be great, and he's clean. Yeah, I mean, there was a little thing where he spent 2 years in jail because he got caught with 1.5 pounds of cocaine at an airport. What? So, you have a movie for me? Yes, sir, I do. It's called The Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh, is that a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie? Yes. What? So the movie follows this guy, Jack Skellington, in this place called Halloween Town. And what's Jack's deal? Well, basically, he's the Pumpkin King, and he works 1 day a year, but he's bored of it, you know? He feels like something's missing. And people are supposed to empathize with this guy like he's the main character? Yeah, people love listening to privileged people complain about their privileged lives. That's a good point. My mates love hearing me talk about wealth management problems. I get it. That sounds amazing. Yeah, it is. Anyway, so one day Jack stumbles upon some doorways to all the other holidays, except those from different cultures. Those are the weird holidays. Yeah, super weird. So anyway, we have doorways to Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day. What would be behind the St. Patrick's Day door? A bunch of drunk Bostonians wearing green? I don't know. What about the Thanksgiving door? Just a bunch of dead birds and potatoes? Could be. And what about the Valentine's Day door? Just a bunch of people drinking the blood of the innocent and eating elk hearts? Oh, I think you're celebrating Valentine's Day wrong. Am I? Yeah, sure sounds that way. It always did feel a little off. I'm gonna look into that. Please do. So anyway, what happens next? Well, Jack is gonna fall through this portal thing to Christmas Town, and he's just gonna fall in love with everything he sees. He's gonna sing a song about it too. What kind of stuff does he sing about? Well, like he doesn't know what snow is, right? So he's like, what's this? There's white stuff in the air. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, and he's like, wow, kids are throwing snowballs instead of throwing heads. But you just said he doesn't know what snow is. Whoops. Whoopsie. So anyway, then he's gonna head back to Halloween Town. How does he get back? Unclear. Wow. But he's super pumped about Christmas now, you know? He can barely contain himself. So what does he do? Well, what do you do when you find something that you like, but it's not yours? I take it. Exactly. So Jack's gonna be like, you know what? We're doing this Christmas thing now because I enjoyed it, so it's mine now. Oh, cultural appropriation is tight. Yeah, and he's gonna force everybody in town to prepare for Christmas, even though nobody understands what it is, including Jack. He's like a tyrant. But there's this girl, Sally, that lives in Halloween Town, and she thinks it's a bad idea. What's Sally's deal? Well, she's kind of like a Frankenstein monster, right? She was made by this mad scientist dude. Okay. And we're gonna have this funny recurring thing where she keeps on trying to poison him when she makes his soup. Oh, well, I guess if he doesn't have anyone else around to make the soup, he has to put up with it. Well, there is a dude who calls him Master who suddenly shows up later in the movie. So why doesn't he get him to make the soup? I guess he really likes Sally's soup. Fair enough. I know I'd risk dying for a good bowl of soup. So yeah, throughout the movie, Sally's gonna be basically stalking Jack because she's in love with him. Very romantic. Yeah, he totally doesn't realize it, and when she does talk to him, he just ignores her. Incredibly romantic. And she has this premonition that his Christmas plans are gonna go super wrong. Oh, does she have psychic abilities? Apparently. I mean, we never bring it up before or after she talks about her vision. Interesting. So anyway, Jack is gonna hire these obviously evil little kids to go kidnap Santa Claus. Rude. And they're immediately gonna come back with the Easter Bunny instead. Oh, so they go back and fetch Santa? Exactly. Wow. Over 30 days later. What? So anyway, then Jack is gonna go out and deliver Christmas presents that are just horrifying and ruin everything. Right, that definitely sounds like it would ruin
ruin Christmas.
Yeah, and so the military's gonna shoot his sleigh out of the sky, and everyone in Halloween Town's gonna be like, oh no, Jack is dead.
Oh, is he dead?
Well, he was already dead.
So what are they all worried about?
That he was blown to bits.
So it's bad if he gets blown into pieces?
Well, not really, because at the beginning of the movie, he takes his own head off for a laugh.
So I don't understand what the problem is here.
Me neither. So anyway, Jack's gonna be like, I can't believe this didn't work out.
Wow, so I imagine he's really gonna have to face the music for what he did, huh?
Not at all.
Well, is he gonna have a hard time getting home now that the sleigh blew up?
No, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's just gonna walk into the first grave he sees, and that leads him home somehow.
That's super convenient. So all graves lead to Halloween Town?
Please stop asking questions about my world building.
Fair enough. So how does the movie end?
Well, Jack's gonna fight a big bag of bugs that's holding Santa captive.
Sure, that may as well happen.
And then he's gonna get the girl.
Who, Sally?
Yeah.
The girl he's been ignoring the entire movie?
Yeah, he suddenly wants her, so he takes her.
So he really hasn't learned anything or faced any consequences for his actions?
None, because of the privilege.
That does help you get away with a lot of stuff.
So what do you think of the movie?
Well, it sounds great, and if it does well, we can make a sequel.
No sequels. I don't want some cash grabby second movie.
Oh, but cash grabbing is tight.
Yeah, but doing a second one is just greedy, and it cheapens the first one.
All right, I got you. We won't do another movie.
You promise?
I promise we will not make a sequel film.
So, you have a Christmas movie for me? Yes, sir, I do. So the main character is this guy named Howard, and he's a workaholic. Uh-oh, a workaholic at Christmas time? That can't be good. Right, so he accidentally spends too much time selling mattresses and has to rush to his kid's karate class that he promised he'd be at. Oh, is he gonna make it? No, he's too late. He walks into an empty gym like, I didn't make it. Did he not notice the completely empty parking lot? I guess not. Huh. So then he goes home and, bribes his son. He bribes his son? He does. He's like, hey, I'll buy you the Turbo Man doll you want for Christmas if you stop being mad at me for being a bad dad. That's a pretty good deal, actually. But then his wife is like, yeah, I told you to get that doll like 2 weeks ago. Did you not get it? And he's like, of course I did, you silly wife. Wow, so this guy is a goddamn liar. Yeah, a compulsive one. So then he has to find this toy on Christmas Eve or he's gonna get caught in his lie. Okay. And so, yeah. What? That's it. That's the movie. That's the whole premise? Yeah. Pretty cool, right? I guess, but it seems pretty thin. There's nothing else going on. Oh, well, also his neighbor Ted is trying really hard to bang his wife, so we're gonna check in on that from time to time. Oh, wow, that's pretty intense for a kid's movie. Yeah, real intense. But I guess if the wife is kind of falling for Ted in a way, then it could show that Howard might lose her. Yeah, no, she's not into Ted at all. She's kind of weirded out by him, and at the end of the movie, she hits him for trying something. So we're gonna have an entire side story where the neighbor is trying to bang the wife, but there's no risk of that actually happening? Exactly. Did you just throw that in there to pad the runtime? You got me. There was only so much I could do with the storyline of trying to make a purchase. Fair enough. And so what kind of stuff does happen to Howard as he tries to buy the toy? Oh, well, just a whole bunch of scenes that all end in violence. Every scene ends in violence? Pretty much. See, I never learned how to write endings to things, so every interaction ends in some kind of physical attack. Well, at least it's consistent. Yeah, so anyway, Howard is gonna go to a store where there's a huge crowd of people waiting to rush in when the doors open. Okay. And he's gonna meet a crazy mailman, Myron, who goes on a huge rant about how toy companies are brainwashing us through screens. Oh, screen rants are tight. Yeah, and then he chokes a random woman. He chokes a woman? I didn't know how to end his rant. Oh, so it just gets violent, I gotcha. And then the doors open and it just gets crazy. Everybody runs around and fights each other. Jeez. So Howard goes up to an employee to ask about the Turbo Man doll and everybody in the store starts to laugh at him. Why? Well, because Turbo Man is sold out and everybody knows it. If everybody knew that, what were they all rushing in for? I don't know, the store seems to be fully stocked up on everything else. Huh. So later they find out that another store got a late shipment and they're doing a lottery with a bunch of bouncy balls for some reason. Okay. And instead of trying to grab one of the many balls bouncing around the store, Howard chases one specific one outside of the store. Not the best strategy. Definitely not, and then a little girl grabs it and Howard gets mistaken for a pedophile. And this is a kid's movie. It is. So then Howard grabs the little girl and a bunch of mothers start to hit him with their purses because they think he's gonna sexually assault this child. Oh my lord. And then this mall Santa says that he has a Turbo Man toy, so Howard follows him to a warehouse where everybody's dressed like Santa. Why would they all be dressed like Santa if they're working inside a warehouse? So the scene can end with Howard fighting a bunch of Santas. Oh, I gotcha. So at least we have fun set pieces for the violence. Yeah, and then the cops are gonna burst in. Oh man, it's gonna be hard for him to get out of that situation. Actually, super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, he just grabs a toy badge and impersonates a police
police officer.
Isn't that a felony?
Technically in Minnesota, it's a gross misdemeanor, so he'd only go to jail for a year.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so then they find out that a radio station is giving away the toy.
Interesting.
So they head over there and Howard busts one of their doors.
Man, this guy is on a crime spree.
You have no idea, so then Myron threatens the cops with a fake bomb so they can escape.
Oh my god.
But then it turns out it was a real bomb and it explodes.
Oh, so the police officers die?
Now, if I understand correctly, a bomb can go off in your hands and it'll just kind of paint your face black.
Oh, bombs aren't dangerous?
No, they'll ruin your clothes though.
Good to know. And so how does the movie end?
Well, Howard is gonna get chased by the cops at a parade because of all the crimes he did.
That makes sense.
And then he's gonna accidentally get put in a Turbo Man costume that has a working jetpack.
Oh, that's a world-changing invention.
And then Myron is gonna dress up like Turbo Man's nemesis and try to murder Howard's kid to take his toy.
What?
It's gonna be a whole thing, and then Myron is gonna get arrested because of the terrorism and the attempted murder.
Well, thank goodness.
And then I figured I should throw in a nice Christmas moment, so Howard's son is gonna give the doll to Myron.
Won't that just end up in some evidence locker?
Probably.
Wow, and so what's this movie called anyway?
Oh, nobody told me I was supposed to come up with a title.
That's okay, we'll just slap some generic Christmas line on there.
Do you think people will mind that it's gonna have nothing to do with the movie?
No, it's fine. We'll just grab a line from some Christmas song everybody loves, like Dashing Through the Snow, or maybe...
Hey guys, it's Ryan here. Hope you enjoyed that pitch meeting. We have a lot more of these on the channel that you can check out. You could also let me know in the comment section what other movies you'd like to see these pitches for. Don't forget to like and comment and share and subscribe. And as always, check back soon for a new one. Bye-bye.